when I think about fighting, I think about my early childhood. When my father told me one day that one Saturday morning, we're going to the police athletic league. And I said, what's the police athletic league? He said, oh, it's going to be great. So he took me down, and that's when I found out I was going to learn how to box. And I remember throwing the medicine ball around, and I remember getting in the ring and putting on boxing gloves and trying to box and then getting punched in the stomach and lying on the floor. And I maybe even shed a few tears. And this went on weekend after weekend, every Saturday morning. I didn't really know what was going on, but I knew that I was getting a very strong message that it was going to be very important for me to know how to box. And I think that was the first and earliest memory that I got that it was going to be important to be viewed as kind of a tough guy. So I had the good fortune of having my mom move in with me. She's passed away now, but for 7, 8 years she lived in the house with me. And one day we were reflecting on this story. I say, Mom, remember I used to go to the police athletic league? We called it PAL. She said, yeah, I remember that. I said, how old was I when I seemed like I was pretty young. She said, you were about 6 years old. So I said, oh, so I was actually learning how to fight at 6? She said, yeah. I remember not doing very well as a boxer, as a fighter. I learned later one of the reasons for that is because I was, quote unquote, big for my age. I was actually fighting kids who were 8. The difference between 6 and 8, that's pretty big. So I didn't have much of a chance. I didn't think of myself as a very tough guy, but then came football. I won't get into any stories about football, but let me just say I was so glad to discover football because football was the legitimate way for me to go out and get real physical, to actually hit people without actually having to fight. I started playing football in the 7th grade. I just kept it up until I graduated from high school. And I really enjoyed the praise that I got, the respect that I got, and most of all, I never got into a fight my entire high school career because no one picked on me. No one knew that I couldn't fight. No one assumed that I couldn't fight. And so football was a real, kind of blessing for me in terms of sending this message that I was a tough guy.